Coming up next on the Jeff Crilley Show, she was podcasting before podcasting was cool. You're going to meet the great Brianna Jovahn. She is the head of What's Good Productions. Her incredible journey just ahead.
Many are predicting that the worst is yet to come, which is unfortunate, said one person here. Until now, they've enjoyed the reputation of being the nation's icebox.
Watched a burglar in his home this morning by webcam.
As a journalist of over 25 years, stories are what make my world turn.
Reporting live from the Dallas newsroom tonight, Jeff Crilley, Fox 4 News.
But in 2008, I took the jump from my familiar life and started a PR firm from my home.
We're talking about anyone with a camcorder like the one I'm using becomes a television network.
We started slowly growing the company, and we now have over 100 clients, and we've branched into the world of live digital broadcasting. I now own 8 different TV studios and have a huge team, and the stories that I now get to share are sometimes the most important of my life. Life has a funny way of coming around full circle. This is the Jeff Crilley Show.
So we started our podcast division in, I believe, 2019, and I felt we were pretty early to the game, but I can't hold a candle to my next guest. It's Brianna Jovahn. She's the CEO of What's Good Productions, and you started your podcast in 2018. And so I'm trying to remember the landscape back then. What was it like? Was anybody doing podcasting?
To be honest, yes. In Dallas, it was pretty big, to be very, very honest. I had the idea in 2018. And with that being stated, it was just like, how am I going to do this? Because I've never been in media. I've never done communications. I have an accounting and finance background. So for me, it was like, we got to do a lot of research. And with my education background, I knew what to do. And that was just to get in front of a computer and see how to create a podcast. So from there, I really just got in the Dallas scene, started seeing if there was any Dallas studios. And at that time, it was one that was called Wolf Nation, and everybody was there. Mm-hmm. And from there, they pretty much helped create the vision for it to actually make sure it was tangible. So now we can just get started. So 2019, March 24th, I actually saw my date. March 24th, 2019 was the actual launch. And that's how we got to do What's Good podcast.
Well, happy anniversary.
Thank you.
We're going to pull up your website. And as we scroll on the website, the thing that really impresses me about you is that you really do all the heavy lifting. So somebody can come up to you with a napkin and an idea, and you can get them on the air, help them with editing, intros. Tell us about the services you provide.
Absolutely. So through my own experience, of course, as a podcaster, I knew that there was a need. I knew if I had the problems that I was going through, because I didn't want to do anything tech, right? Unfortunately, when Wolf Nation closed, I had to learn how to edit the podcast myself. And so from there, people were asking me, how are you still doing your podcast? And I was like, it's me. And then when you know there's a need and you have a solution, why not create a business? So from there, it was a lot of trial and error, just really figuring out what people needed. And that's how we create our packages. And then from there, that's when we were on Upwork and, working as a freelancer. But that's when we actually decided to make it a full-on business as What's Good Productions. So now people reach out to us not only for production, editing, we do the graphics as far as the cover art, we do the show notes, we do the titles, all of the things when it comes to keeping the podcast going, right? But consistently, we want to make sure we support them with strategy. How can we make their podcast a part of their actual business ecosystem? So that was important to me because 90% of podcasters after 3 episodes do not continue because it's either they've run out of ideas, they felt discouraged because their downloads are not as big as they thought they were going to be. And so we have to figure out the strategy to keep not only the podcast, but help it be a part of the ecosystem of the business.
And you help with distribution, which is huge.
Yes.
So when somebody come to you, you can actually get it out there and help them grow their audience?
Correct. So when it comes to distribution, we also make sure that it's on the biggest platforms like Apple Podcasts, Spotify. Now we have Amazon Music. So we try to stay up to date with all the trends because we want our clients to be up to date with the trends as well. So if your audience is on Apple Podcasts, well, let's make sure to tell them in the episode, make sure you check us out on Apple Podcasts. So we definitely make sure that distribution makes sense for them.
I love it. Well, I love the name of your company. So how did you come up with What's Good Productions?
To be completely honest, when it came to the actual podcast, we had a host. We was going to do a co-host situation. Excuse me. And then with the co-host situation, she actually came up with the name. Her name is Key. Shout out to Key. And I was like, girl, I love that. She was like, well, you're talking to all the people in Dallas, so you're pretty much saying like, what's good Dallas? So it made sense. So to keep it on brand, when we decided to add the company part of it, we decided to keep it as What's Good, but What's Good Productions.
Wow. Well, we share a similar interest because podcasting has become super cool in the last decade. And I just imagine conversations happening up and down the toll road here of CEOs saying, hey, our competition has a podcast. How do we start? What light do we buy? And folks like you can really take that off their plate.
Absolutely. In so many different ways, because again, that's our biggest question is, what is the goal of the podcast? Are you doing it at home? Do you need a studio? So now we're trying to get in connection with different studios in different areas so we can, of course, support our clients.
Okay. Tell me one of your favorite success stories so far.
So one of my success stories for a client is, I'm gonna say her name. Her name is Janice Saunders. Shout out to her. When she first came, she actually started with us in 2022. And when we first started, again, it was just complete editing. We did the graphics, we did the titles, we did the show notes, we did audiograms. I know people don't even know about audiograms anymore. Sure. And so when we started that, I was like, we've been consistent, you've been showing, but I feel like we could do a little bit more. So with that, we had some strategy calls. I told her, you may need to start doing some online courses. You may need to start doing some lives. You need to start showing up. Just do a little bit more than what we're doing, right? So organically, we rebranded the entire podcast. We kept it as, it was called Seasonal Sisters, but we added some keywords to it. She's talking to midlife women, Black women as well, physical wellness, mental wellness, all the things. So we changed up the title. We also changed up the description of it. And just within the organic side of things, she doubled her numbers within just a few months.
That's huge.
After that, we did one ad and it was on the podcast player. We did an ad there. And from there, it just skyrocketed. So 2022, when we first started, she was maybe at 900 from 2022 to 2024. 2025 is when we did the full rebrand, and now she's surpassed over 8,000 downloads. Wow. So just within a year, maybe a couple months, actually, we went from 900 to over 8,000 downloads, and it still continues to go.
And that's a key point that you just made is that you can help people monetize their podcasts. What are the different ways that people can use to monetize their podcast?
So for an example, what I'm currently doing, which doesn't take much at all. So again, like I mentioned with Janice, we rebranded her. So same thing, I rebranded myself and I put, instead of it being called What's Good Podcast, we changed it to Dallas, Texas, What's Good Podcast. So many people are finding me. So with that being stated, if people are reaching out to you, then they want to be a guest, you can think about that as you're advertising for them. So I would say add a price tag to it. Start as $50 and then see if you can grow and go to potentially $100 per guest. Yes. So people are requesting, that is one way for you to do it. Another way for you to do it, similar to what I did, I made a business out of my own experience. So for an example, what you can do is go live. So you already know that you're a thought leader, you're an expert. So go live and it be private. So with the podcast, you advertise on there to say, hey, we're going live. Make sure that you click the link in our show notes. And then with that link, make sure that they're paying maybe $25 to join that live. And so it's privately. So that is another way to monetize. You can do sponsorships. You can do advertisement. Advertisements can be a short commercial, similar to what we hear on the radio, right? So you can do that for your podcast as well. And I would start local. I think people are missing out on the local piece of doing those connections with local businesses. And what you don't realize is that they will be more in tune to support you because they know that podcasting is a huge thing right now to create those conversations. All
right, we're going to show a little bit of video from one of your recent podcasts. And as we put that on the screen, I want you to talk about where you see the industry going. It's only going to get hotter from here, isn't it?
Yes, it is. I am actually seeing businesses now, B2B, doing podcasting. And I think it is exciting in a sense because they're realizing that podcasting is the new way for them to join when it comes to engagement of their audience. We need to know who these CEOs are. We need to know who these COOs are versus just buying from the brand itself. Like, who is the person behind the brand? So I do see it going that way. Another trend that I am seeing, which can also help podcasters as well, is when you're looking at your SEO, if you ask like, hey Siri, what business podcast can I listen to? They are actually recommending based on the SEO what podcasts are out there for the person to listen to.
Wow.
So that is huge as well. So SEO is really, really big. We can't just go out for organic things anymore. We have to be intentional about stuff as well.
Okay, we have about a minute left, so I want you to look into the camera on the left and talk to the viewer who's been putting this off and knows that they need a podcast, they don't know how to get started.
I would go ahead and just really sit down and think about the foundation of the podcast and who your true listener is, what problem you are solving, and also the solution that you are going to provide. I think a lot of times people forget that value is already in you because you've been doing this. So why not create another outlet, another way to engage with your listener by providing solutions, because it's already in you. You already do it day to day. So now we just have to make sure that we do another outlet, which is podcasting, and for you to support your potential customer, your potential client. You never know, but you got to start off with the foundation. What is the problem and what is the solution and how you're going to deliver it?
I love it. Thank you for your words of wisdom. We're going to end with your website, which is what'sgood-productions.com. The great Brianna Jovahn. Thanks for coming on the show.
Thank you so much for having
You bet.
me.
That's it for now. We'll see you next time.